Hi, Jen. Hi, Christine. We're just going to wait a few minutes to get some people in here. I got to get situated. So I almost was late because I had to go on to, I had to go online to check my, hi, Andrea. I had to go online to check to see if I have jury duty tomorrow. And online isn't reporting yet. So I had to call in and I do have jury duty. So I'm excited about that. Hi, Nancy. And Deb and Moose Mom. Sorry, I don't know your name, even though I see you commenting everywhere. Michelle, hi Michelle. I will try to remember that. As Jen knows, I didn't know her name before the last time I went live. So, and I remember her name now. So hopefully I will remember Michelle. Hi Laura. Okay, so live says that it is going to remember the stream so that if you watch it later, it will show it. So I wouldn't necessarily have to say the comments or the anything, but I'm still going to repeat them as much as I can remember to, just this one time to make sure that it works properly. And we'll go from there. Hi from Romania. That's awesome. Okay, so let me pull up our Facebook comment thing with the questions. I thought this would just be a kind of fun thing to do for a video on Monday instead of my normal Monday type of video. So, okay. Yes, I know I'm scheduled to report for jury service tomorrow. I just got the phone call. Okay, so, okay. Jen, I see you just saw that. Do you have any questions for me? While I start with the questions on here, if any of you while you're on here have questions, feel free to ask them. I might not get to them right away, but we can ask them, or you can ask them, and we will try to get to them. So, number one, Caroline, off the grid needle arts, asks, how much stash is too much stash? And I'm like, is this a current issue? And Paula says, too much stash, is that really an issue? Or she says there's no such thing. Now, I don't even know if I want to touch that question with the 10-foot pole because we all know we all have more stash than we probably really ever need. But I don't know. Is there even an answer to that question? Is there too much stash, or how much stash is I don't know. I guess that would be dependent on every person individually. Right now, I feel like I have too much stash, and I'm sure I don't have nearly as much as many of you. And that is no offense to anybody that has a lot of stash. That's just, I don't have a big stash. Good point, Laura. Laura says, just say you are a collector. That is a very good point. So, moving on to Caroline's next question. And she says, if you know you bought a pattern, but can't find it in your house because ... stash ... should you buy it again? And then she tried to really quickly say, she's asking for a friend. And I responded back, I was like, is this a question due to a current life dilemma? So here's my thing. I personally can't say I've ever been in that situation because I am an organization freak. I mean, like organization to the 10th degree. So I don't know. I don't know if I should even answer that question because I'm not a good person to ask because I would be like, no, you shouldn't go buy that pattern. You should go look for it and organize your stuff and get your stuff self-organized and be all strict about it. No, I have not, Felicity. Or yeah. No, I have not, Jen. I have not shown how I organize my stash. It's not really all. I just have a cabinet that I showed that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. I guess I can make that a video. That's a good question. So I will show you in one of my videos how I organize stash. But I will tell you my stash is slowly starting to outgrow the cabinet that I bought. So so Christine says, the problem is when you're organizing your stash, you get stuck petting it for 5 days and then you want to start 100 different projects. Well, maybe that's a good reason to organize your stash so you can continue to remember and refresh your memory on what you have. So maybe you won't go buy so much because you keep reminding yourself of how much you actually have and how much you want to stitch. And yes, I do agree, Michelle. Part of the fun is collecting the pretty stuff. So now, in all good fun, and even Caroline and I, after she posted those questions, had a nice laugh about those questions in text messages. So, thank you, Caroline, for asking for jumpstarting the questions on my feed. So, moving on. Pamela Elrod asks, what inspires you when creating a new chart? Dreams, social media trends, voices in your head, question mark. And I would say the voices in my head for most of them. Now keep in mind, so far I only have 4 in my store, and I have maybe 10 that I'm working on at the moment. And that's as much information as you're getting right now. So don't try to get any more information. So for me, where I get my inspiration from would be a lot of walking through stores, Hobby Lobby being a big thing. Just walking through the decorations of Hobby Lobby is a huge inspiration because obviously right now everything is farms. Even at Hobby Lobby with all the decorations, it's all farms. And even when you walk through the aisles of Hobby Lobby, if you don't have Hobby Lobby, you would know. If you don't have Hobby Lobby is one of our big craft stores here in the United States, and they also have a big architectural. I just read an ad. I'll get to that question in a second, Chris. Hobby Lobby also has a big. I'm drawing a blank here. Home decor section. And so the home decor section has a lot of furniture, a lot of wall hangings, shelf knickknacks, and decorative stuff. So, and they have a whole bunch of different sections. They have like the man cave section for like the stuff that you would put in your den or your man cave. They have, the the pretty stuff that you would put in your curio cabinet that you would never let the little kids touch. So, and that whole central section of Hobby Lobby is a huge inspiration for me. And I go through with my phone camera and I take pictures, and then I come back and I use that. And that's where actually I got a lot of the inspiration for my pillow, for the windmill. Also because, right now farm is really popular. And for me, the farm stuff that's out there is still, while it's prim, it's also kind of cutesy. Whereas this to me is a little bit more architectural and detailed, and I don't want to say more realistic, more my style. So that's what, and I design stuff that I would want to stitch. So that's another inspiration. While I love all the other designers, and there's nothing, none of what I'm saying is hating on them or anything. It's also things that I would be interested in stitching because I'm not going to want to sit and design something if I wouldn't be interested in stitching it myself. So, as far as Chris Humphrey asks, are there any architectural designs in the works? I will give you a hint, yes. And they're smalls. So, pillow type smalls. So, okay. Yay for architectural or yay for smalls? That's Chris that says yay. While we get to Chris's response, I did skip a question. Kathy, Janice, both. Okay, cool. Yay. Kathy asked, what do you do with your patterns after you have stitched them? So far, with all of my patterns that I have stitched, I have them sitting in my cabinet. And that is because everything that I have stitched, I have intentions, and they are intentions of I have intentions of, sorry, I'm just, there we go. So I have intentions of maybe stitching some smalls out of them. And the one that I'm really thinking about is, hi, Monica. The one that I'm really thinking of right now that that's in the back of my mind is Crowns of the Kingdom. So, yeah. So I'm not ready to give them up yet, just because I may want to do some other stuff with them. But we'll see. Anyways, moving on. Carla Preston asks, what do you do if you lose your mojo? I'm assuming she means mojo for stitching. What I do if I start to lose my mojo for stitching is I try to move on to a different project. And if that doesn't work, I look at my stitching and maybe start something new. And if that doesn't work, hi, Midnight Crafter from the UK. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about what happens if I lose my mojo. And if that doesn't work, I sit down and I design some. Because sometimes designing and working on my own projects while it's not stitching, it helps me reignite my creativity. And then I want to get back to what I want to stitch on. So, T-Zone, T-Zone asks, do you like the realistic architectural designs or the cartoonish style also? I prefer realistic. I prefer realistic in almost everything I do. I like the realistic high detailed stuff on pretty much everything I stitch. The really prim stuff and the really like the primitive or low detail or cartoony stuff is not really my style at all, and it's just not real. It doesn't really catch my attention. So thank you for the question. Okay. Hi, Dina. Dina says you don't have to apologize for being late, and picture reels are very important, so you can have stuff to hang to put your pictures up. So complete, and I was just we're coming up to your questions here shortly, so you're actually not too late. We just got started not too long ago, so. Oh, I don't know what that is. Okay. Where are we at? Tim and Laura Love asks, what are your must-have stitching tools or favorite gadgets? I don't really use many stitching gadgets. I guess I would say for my large projects, it would be my Omnic frames. I guess it would be my frames, my Omnics and my Q snaps. Because when it comes to gadgets, I'm really a basic stitcher. I just use frames and needle minders. And then most of the time I have a needle minder on the thing and I still use my mouth to put the needle in. And no, I'm not ashamed of saying that. And yes, I lick my floss. So, okay. Carla asks, have you done any other types of needlework, needlepoint embroidery or stump work, etc.? So, no. No. I've done the stitching required to hand stitch my pillows. I sew on buttons when my clothes lose a button, and I cross stitch. And now I knit. And I'm getting a lot of glare off out of my window, but I'm going to go with it because we have had so little of sunlight in the last 2 weeks. I don't want to close my blinds. Bye, Laura. We'll see you later. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Dina of Half Stitch Cross Stitch, go check her out, asks, what has been the most challenging cross stitch technique you have had to learn, and how did you go about approaching it? I think the most challenging would have had to been, and you're all probably going to be like, you're either going to laugh or you're going to be like, yeah, I completely agree. And I'm going to say French knots. Because while other techniques are challenging, they're doable to the point where I don't get frustrated if I don't do it right, or they're easy to fix. But with a French knot, for some reason, I get so frustrated if they don't work out right, and they're so hard to get right. But yet they're so simple to do, or they seem so simple. So to answer your second point of the question, how did you go about approaching it to address the challenge? I think it's just practice, 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 practice. And I think Andre had just said, just do over 500 of them in 5 days and you'll be a pro. I'm assuming you're talking about your French Dimensions bistro picture, and I'm sure you are a pro now. Yeah, and yeah, I really think just practice is what it is, and I don't do them enough because my patterns don't really call for them enough um, to warrant doing them. And I know some people will replace them with beads, but I haven't done that yet because I've never beaded yet. So, so yeah, I'd say French knots. I think that's the other thing. Betty says they are easy. We just want every single one to be perfect. And I think that's part of it too, is when they do look a little wonky, we get really frustrated because they don't look perfect. I'm looking because I'm looking at my old world map right now, and they have has a bunch of French knots in them. And I kind of tend to agree with that because I am a perfectionist. So when they don't look perfect, then it's like, so yeah. Okay, Dina also asks, when you finish a large project like a Henry, meaning my Heaven and Earth Henry, which I haven't finished anything that large yet. What is your celebration ritual? And she's assuming that I have one. And funny, I don't. Um, my celebration ritual would probably be I sit there, I look at it, I'm like, it's done. What am I going to do now? And then I sit a little bit longer. I think I'm like, well, what am I going to do next? And I sit a little longer, and I'm like, I can't believe it's done. And I think many of us have this. And then we sit a little longer, and then we're like, oh. And then we get into a little bit, maybe like a depressive state. I don't even want to say depressive, but like angst. And then I think I just don't stitch the rest of the night or the rest of the day. Or I really quick hurry up and start a new project. I don't iron, Teresa, until I'm ready to actually finish it. So, yeah, so I agree. It's like finishing a good book and then feeling a bit lost. So it's one of those where you've worked on it for so long, and then you're like, wow, like you're hurrying up to get it done because you're so excited to get it done. And then once it's done, it's like, okay, what do I do now? So, um, yeah, so I don't really have a ritual. So I do say I will take a picture of it real quick. I'll post it on Facebook or on Instagram if I want to post it on Instagram. Um, if I don't want to wait for to put it on um, uno momento. I'm being interrupted here. So if I don't want if I want to post it right away, then I will take a picture and post it right away because I'm so excited. Or I'll take a picture and send it to my friends that know that I stitch. So I will do that. So I guess that's my ritual. Um, my friend just texted me because he also has a pet squirrel. His name's Walter. And I guess well, he just got home from work and he was feeding them. And Apparently Walter just rammed the house to get more nuts. I don't know. Anyways, Chris now asks, Gerald, what do you do with your leftover floss after a project? It depends upon what type of floss it is. If it's DMC, I just put it back on the bobbin and put it away in my master set because I pretty much have a whole set except for the 35 new colors, and I think I'm missing 3 or 4 others. If it's the over-dyed flosses, then I just wrap it around. I haven't really done much with the other over-dyed flosses. The only one I've done with over-dyed flosses really is the Let Freedom Ring. And I think I just put it back into the bag that I bought it from the from my LNS, and I put it in my drawer. Okay. So Lee Smith asks, what do you do with the finished projects? Or what do you do with your finished projects? That is, do you display them or gift them or stuff them in a bag in the closet? I do a little of both or all the above. So good night to all of you in across the pond. I know it's pretty late now. So we will see you again soon. Hi, Crafty Dad. So the question is, what do I do with my finished projects? Do I display them or gift them or stuff them in a bag in the closet? So I have some displayed, primarily framed. Actually, I think they're all framed except for now my pillows, because these are the first non-framed things I've done. And I have a handful of finishes folded and put in my drawer. And that would primarily be Crowns of the Kingdom, because I still need to frame that because I have to find a square frame that fits, which is fairly large. I think I need to custom order a frame for that. And I have drawn a blank. Let Freedom Ring and Ornamental Joy left to frame. Other than that, that's all I have. Okay. Alyssa Reynoso asks, where is your dream stitchy getaway? And I asked for some clarification. Alexa, shut up. I asked Alyssa for some clarification because I wasn't really sure what she meant by the question. And Caroline had to put her own 2 cents in, and she said Canada, London, Ontario, precisely as my dream stitch vacation, so I could stitch with her. So she specifically meant, would I like to go to the Royal Needlework School in England, go to an isolated area like a log cabin and stitch by a fire, or go to Williamsburg to the retreat they have during Christmas? Hanging out with Caroline would be a blast, as well as refills of Tim Hortons coffee nonstop. Yes, that, well, yeah. I actually had to think about this question because this was a hard question for me to answer. Because if I'm gonna go on vacation, unless it's for a specific retreat, or a specific class, I would not want to go and sit and stitch. Because I'm the type of person that when I go on vacation, I need to be moving and going and doing things and sightseeing and doing all the busy museums and tours. And seeing all the sights and going to all the shops and all that stuff. I always have. I probably always will. So, and I know I've had conversations with other people about this in the past because, like, the School of Needlework has come out. The Royal Needlework School in England has come up because asking if I wanted to go. And I was kind of like, no, not really, because I have never been to London. And if I'm going to go to London, I don't want to go sit in a castle and stitch all weekend. I want to go to London and do all the sights. So, yes, I want to go and stitch, but I also want to see all the sights. So, I guess it depends upon the purpose of the actual vacation. But to me, a vacation is sightseeing and touring and museums and all that fun stuff. So, on a third or fourth trip to England, would I want to go to the Royal Needlework School? Absolutely. But not on the first, or probably second, or probably third, unless I'm there for like a month. And that's not going to happen unless I win the lottery. And that hasn't happened yet. So, okay. Andrea, sounds good. I would love to go with you if you win the lottery. So, Andrea asks, there is many things to love about stitching. Do you ever wish it was more widespread? If a Kardashian promoted it, we could spread the fun. Laugh out loud. And I had to think about this one for a long time. And you're going to be surprised to find out I'm going to say no. I don't know if I would want it to be more widespread for a couple reasons. Firstly, I don't think the community would be as closely knit as it is now. Secondly, I think it would be watered down too much. Well, it's about time, Caroline. Um, I was just answering the question from Andrea about do I ever wish it was more widespread? And I was saying it's a hard one to answer because I don't think I would wish it was more widespread. Because I don't think the community would be as comfortable or as closely knit as it is now. I also don't think it would be as I don't know, the more people you add, I often feel like the more watered down something gets. And the more watered down something gets, the more luster it loses. I hope this is making sense. So I think you would lose the skill. I think you would lose the education from it. I think you would lose a lot of the appreciation for it. Now, there are some pros to it, though. It would be cheaper. it would be more readily available. Betty said she thought of this also sort of like being different from most people. Also, if everyone liked it, I might not be able to afford supply and demand. Well, I think that the supply and demand would be it would be challenging. It might be more it might be cheaper because the supply it depends upon yeah, it depends. The the hand dyed stuff might be more expensive because of supply and demand, but then things like DMC that are mass produced might be cheaper because of supply and demand. So I don't know. That's just my personal opinion and 2 cents about it. I also like being different than everybody else. And if we all do the same thing all the time, that makes it boring. You know, I like being the only one at work that cross stitches. So I know that if I do a cross stitch gift for somebody, no one else is going to be doing it. So, anyways, just my thoughts, my 2 cents. So, Kim asks, do I have a floss tube channel? Sylvia asks, how many projects do you have waiting to be started and what are they? Sorry, I didn't do my research before. I probably have about 10 kits. And then, no, maybe I don't have 10, maybe 5 or 6 kits. 6 kits? Around, I don't know, a handful of kits. I have a handful of kits. And then I have at least one pattern that I have all the flosses and the fabric ready to go. So I'd say under 10 projects ready to go. That's a guess, Sylvia. I hope that answers your question. And yes, Caroline says the lady that was asking about my channel is brand new. I was just being a little lighthearted here. So I hope I'm not letting anybody down with my channel. Did I buy anything from Hobby Lobby clearance to add to my list? I showed three kits that in my last video that that I purchased from Hobby Lobby clearance. And then guess what? I went back to on Friday and I bought another one, Monica, different Hobby Lobby. And I will show that on Wednesday's video. So yes, I bought 4 kits. Anyways, Sylvia then asks, would I like to learn how to needlepoint or do counted or painted canvas? I do have a counted canvas. Caroline, is that what that's called that I have? Or is that needlepoint that I have? I think it's needlepoint. I have a non-cross stitch pattern that goes on some kind of canvas. I think it goes on Congress cloth. Whatever that's called. No, it's not printed on the canvas. So I have canvas work. So I have needlepoint. I have one needlepoint pattern I would like to work on. So when will that happen? I don't know. I have to learn how to do it because I have no clue how to read the pattern, but I'm going to figure that out. Okay, moving on. Beth Ann Williams also asks, how do I come up with my original designs? What inspires you the most? Again, I'm just going to rehash because we have some new people that came in from that were not here before. A lot of my inspirations come from the voices that talk in my head. I will just be randomly walking aisles in Hobby Lobby and get an idea. I will be randomly walking in Target and see something and it catches my eye and be like, oh, I could do a cross stitch pattern for that. I get ideas from drawings that I have drawn years and years ago. I get ideas from voids in the cross stitch world that I feel like there's an area missing that we need patterns for, such as high def architectural patterns, meaning high detail, more realistic looking things, because I'm a realistic style stitcher. So that's where I get my inspiration. And Norma asks, what charting software are you using for your original designs? Currently, I am using WinStitch for my designs. By what I have found, it's the best one that works for me. I'm going to continue staying on top of the different design software, and if anybody has any information of what might work better, I'm always open for suggestions. So my questions for you, because this is an interactive video today, and don't go away because there's a surprise. Are there any areas or ideas of cross-stitch patterns that you would like to see that you do not have right now that you would like to see in the world? General ideas for cross-stitch patterns. Let me know. You can shoot it in the messages here, or you can send me a message on Instagram or on my Etsy store page. I'm always open to more nature. Yep, I'm definitely working on nature, D Park. Geometric. Yeah, Andrea, I'm not going to be designing people. Not anytime soon. Okay, slow down here, people. Can't write this fast. Geometric nature. Harley Davidson. Isn't there a I don't know, isn't there a Harley Davidson design out there? Of course, if I would do a design like that, it wouldn't be Harley Davidson because that's copyrighted. Nautical. Cool. So my question then for you is there any other questions for me? I do like the sidecars. The sidecars are cool. I used to work for Harley Davidson. I was a security guard for a year or so, and I always loved the sidecars. The tourings with the sidecars, those were pretty nice. Yes, Christine, I will be doing a series on my bonsai. If you must, I will show you my bonsai now. I have not touched it other than plopping some moss on it. Here is my bonsai. It's growing nicely. I need to trim it, but I just have not had the chance to. And you can see I plopped on some moss just to get it going here. Yeah. But I just have not had the chance, and I'm a little anxious. So, yeah. Um, who was T-Zone? I don't know the first thing about Game of Thrones, so I am not going to be your designer for that. Sorry. Bonsai cross stitch. Interesting. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, yep. Bonsai. And if you bought my pattern, you would have seen my bonsai in the background. What do I feed the bonsai tree? Water. No, I haven't fed it any food yet. I feed it water and natural sunlight. No, I have not fed it any fertilizer yet. So, hi, Susan. Nice to meet you. So, okay, so the last thing before we go, I'm going to give away a chart. So if you're interested in one of my charts, for the new pattern, what I need you to do, what do I need you to do? I haven't thought this through yet. Okay, we're gonna give it. We're doing it live here, people. So if you're participating live, you have the chance of winning the pattern live. So okay, and Betty, that's actually what I was thinking of. So I'm going to provide, and don't give it. You can't type in any numbers yet because it's going to be the quickest person. So I will tell you when to go. I'm going to write a number down on my paper. The first person to type the number, the correct number, will win the pattern. I didn't say to type any numbers yet. That doesn't count. Okay. So when I say go, when I say, the first person who types the number will get my pattern for the windmill. If you already purchased the windmill, then you can have, I haven't told you yet, Jen, just be patient here. If you already have the windmill, because you've already purchased it from me, thank you very much. And you can have a chance, or you can have any other pattern that I have in my store, or you can save the free pattern for a future pattern that I have coming out. Okay. On your mark. The number is between 1 and 50. Go. Oh, geez. If I haven't said it yet, keep going. Nope, stop. Barbara, you win. Barbara Lennon said 24. 24. 24 is the winner. Barbara Lennon. So Barbara Lennon, if you can send me, you did say 24, didn't you? Yes, Barbara Lennon. I'm just double checking to make sure no one else said 24 first, so no one gets huffy at me. That lasted longer than I thought it would. That was fun. So Barbara, if you can send me your email, preferably on Instagram or Etsy, I will get you your pattern as soon as I get your email. I will just email the PDF to you. So congratulations, Barbara. Thank you everyone for participating. I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to doing these more often. So be on the lookout on Instagram or Facebook in the group for future postings like this. I'm going to do it randomly. It's not going to be it's going to be random. And remember, tomorrow is episode number 1 of Confessions of a Floss Tube. So I hope you're looking forward to that. It is a conversation with Minty Stitcher. So enjoy, and I will see you next time. And don't forget to be creative.